Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for our wellness talk about collagen. Tonight we have Dr. Jennifer Brix joining us, and we are going to be exploring the myths and science behind collagen and learning how your true beauty really starts within. My name is Haley, and I run the wellness events program at Nature's Fair Markets. Thank you to BioSil, who is our partner tonight, and who's also a partner with us at an amazing spring sale in store next week. So something we'll remind you of at the end of this presentation is that all of the products they're talking about are on sale April 21st and 22nd. Our presentation will be around 30 minutes-ish, give or take. And the microphones for the participants are muted for the duration of the presentation, just to make sure everyone can hear clearly. Throughout the webinar, we do encourage you to submit questions in the Q&A box. I'll be doing my best to answer the ones that I can, and then flagging the ones for the end of the presentation. We'll have some time for Q&A. A recording will be sent to everyone via email tomorrow and saved to our YouTube channel. So if you feel like you missed something or you want to share it with a friend, that'll be available. So now, before I hand it over to Dr. Brix, I'd love to give you a little bit on her background. And as you can see, she's put that up here for you to read as well. She's a naturopathic doctor and health educator who is passionate about empowering people to achieve their optimal health with expertise in digestion, hormones, brain-related conditions. She loves sharing her knowledge to help patients uncover root causes and a path to wellness. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us. We're all really looking forward to learning from your expertise.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you to Nature's Fair for having me as well.
Yes.
I miss being close to one of your stores. We recently relocated to Victoria, back to Victoria, but I was practicing in Kelowna. Still have a clinic there. But we're expanding and moved to Victoria. Just had a baby about a year ago as well. So just juggling all that fun stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I can relate. Well, with that, I will hand it over to you, and we'll see you at the end.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Very excited to be back doing this again. I just got off of mat leave, so ready to start educating. And I think this is an area of focus for me. I really enjoy educating about collagen. It's a pretty popular thing right now. It's a bit of a buzzword. It's been that way for a few years, I think, because it's got some pretty good research depending on how you support your collagen in reducing wrinkles and fine lines and improving cellulite. But it's also really important for bone health and for your creaky joints, not just for that beautiful, luscious hair and all that kind of thing. It is very, very important for your overall health. So I hope that tonight you'll get some tips on, how you can use collagen to perhaps improve something you might be seeing in the mirror, but ultimately what's going on the inside. So collagen is the main structural protein in most connective tissues in your body, and connective tissue includes your skin, but also your ligaments, your tendons, your cartilage, your bone, and your blood vessels. So ultimately, collagen is important in helping prevent things like heart disease and osteoporosis, as well as fine lines and wrinkles. Collagen is very strong. It's fibrous. You can see the picture here. And when it breaks down, it's ultimately a chain of amino acids in a helix there. You can see the triple helix, and those combine together to create more strength and flexibility throughout your body. Collagen is like a scaffold for things in your bones and things in your arteries. And the body actually has to make about 1 pound of collagen every 5 days to properly remodel these tissues. You can kind of see there your skeleton has about 1,600 grams or 1.6 kilograms of collagen. And every single day has to resynthesize 43 grams. So overall, every single day, you're making 97 or close to 100 grams of collagen every day in all of these different parts of your body. Again, not just your skin. There's so much more. So, I jumped the gun there. So before you look at that question, I've got a poll coming up here. I want to ask you guys. So I think there should be a poll coming up. There we go. So how early, if you saw this slide, you'll see the answer, but how early do you think your collagen production begins to decrease? I'll just see how you compare with your peers here. Got quite a few people on the call, so it looks like, okay, pretty even. People think 21, maybe 30. Some people say 35, maybe even 45. And the unfortunate answer is 21. So collagen loss actually starts at the age of 21 by about 1% per year. And that's because the cells that make collagen start to kind of, they get a little bit tired. Those are called fibroblasts. And that collagen loss, occurs throughout the body. So you might not see those wrinkles starting at 21, but the loss is definitely there. Your skin's thickness decreases by 6.4% every 10 years. And if you're a female postmenopausal woman, there's actually a loss of 30% of skin collagen in the first 5 years. So although collagen is super important, if you are female and going into perimenopause and postmenopause, you can actually start much, much earlier if you're looking for prevention. So skin breakdown and collagen breakdown in the skin, it's 75% of your skin is collagen. And like I mentioned earlier, it is a scaffold. So think of a scaffold or a lattice. That's what the collagen creates in your skin and other parts of the body. If that lattice is not there, then things like elastin, minerals, high hyaluronic acid can't actually bind. And so that elasticity that we see that starts to fade as we get older is because the collagen is no longer there for that elastin to bind. And this is actually why things look more dehydrated as well, because fluids and high hyaluronic acid, which is moisturizing, also has no place to really go. We see that collagen breakdown in the skin is also exacerbated by things like ultraviolet light. In this particular picture, was a truck driver. You can probably tell which side of the road he was driving on, and that side was, his left side was exposed to sunlight, to UV over the course of his career. And you can kind of see how much that difference is between the right and the left. So that ultimately from that ultraviolet exposure. Stress will also accelerate breakdown of collagen. So will inadequate nutrition. We'll get into that a little bit later. Smoking, a lack of exercise, and ultimately inflammation can really cause that breakdown to speed up. In the bones, now this is where my education really is important, because I think that a lot of people focus on collagen with the skin. I really focus on this with my patients who have a potential for osteopenia or osteoporosis, because collagen also breaks down in your bone. And your bone is 50% made of protein, and most of that protein is collagen. So you need to have that intake on a regular basis to support that collagen lattice, which is what allows calcium and all sorts of other minerals to actually bind. The average woman loses about 8 to 9% of bone mineral density every single 10 years. So every decade, that decrease can continue to lead to that road of osteopenia. So to make it a little bit easier to understand with that lattice, like I mentioned, that scaffold, you can see the picture on the left with all of the blue tendrils. That's your collagen. And the purple is like the minerals, the calcium that's binding, and that's a really nice dense bone. Whereas the picture on the right shows that collagen really waning and not a lot of space or areas for that calcium to bind. And that's ultimately what causes that density issue. Collagen also allows our bones to be flexible. So it allows us to bend sideways or bend forward and not actually snap these hard bones. If you've ever done, this is a really cool experiment if you have kids at home, but it's called the bendy bone experiment. You take a bone, chicken bone or something like that, pop it in some acid like apple cider vinegar or white vinegar, let it sit overnight or for maybe 24 hours. And if you take that bone out, it looks exactly the same. It doesn't look like anything's missing, but you can literally bend that bone. And the reason why is because the acid has pulled out all the minerals. So the calcium and boron and all those things have actually just disintegrated or gone in, dissolved into the acid. And all you're left with really is that collagen lattice, which looks just like the bone because it makes up such a large percentage. So kind of a cool thing you can try at home. Again, just to kind of bring down that information on why collagen is so important for overall health, there was a study that showed that people with more skin wrinkling had a higher potential for lower bone density. And right, skin wrinkling is associated with lack of collagen. So that lack of collagen also occurring in the bone tissue. You know, if you've got a lot of deep wrinkles, you may want to consider having your bone density assessed. Another area that's also very important to our health are the arteries. And our arteries, if you didn't know, actually are also composed of collagen, about 40% collagen and elastin that allows those blood vessels, those arteries to expand and contract every time the heart pumps blood through them, right? It allows that elasticity. Unfortunately, again, as we age or due to stress or due to poor nutrition, inflammation, you can actually get a buildup of hardening of the arteries, of calcium and other things, and plaque because of the insufficient collagen that is missing from, again, inadequate intake or some of those factors that I mentioned. And of course, when that occurs, then you've got concerns for heart events. Really interesting thing was also discovered. Dr. Sanders T. Frank reported in the New England Journal of Medicine that a diagonal earlobe crease. So if you have now everyone's probably grabbing their mirror to have a look, but if you have a crease, as you can see in that picture, that actually is a potential indicator of coronary artery disease, because earlobes, the cartilage, are also composed of collagen. And so that lack of collagen in the skin and in the ear could indicate a lack of collagen in the arteries. As well as in the forehead line. So people with numerous deep wrinkles were almost 10 times more likely to die of a cardiovascular death than people with wrinkle scores of 0. And that doesn't mean people that have had Botox or anything like that, but just sitting there. And adults, of course, we're not comparing this to children who have no wrinkles. So very interesting, but also important to understand why collagen is so key to so many parts of our health. And finally, in our cartilage, it helps to keep our joints flexible and silent. So the creaking joints could indicate a lack of collagen. And collagen also helps, again, as a lattice to bring in sort of that fluid and hyaluronic acids and some things that keep that synovial fluid very healthy. So really, again, important for those joints too. All right, so now that you know the importance of collagen, it's not just, the skin surface, it is much deeper. The question is, how do we get our collagen back, right? What can we do? Well, we want to support the cells that make our collagen. So there are ways to do that. We want to focus on activating the biological pathways that make the new collagen. So there's a couple nutrients that are really key for allowing this. We want to provide the raw materials, and then we want to protect collagen once it's formed. So all of those are really important. So the next poll question I have up here is, do you use a supplement to support your collagen production, or have you ever? Curious. All right, about 2/3 say yes, and 1/3 says no. It's waffling a little bit. So majority says yes. Again, about 2/3. Okay. So we'll see. Maybe the nose will think about you, and actually the nose might be taking something that's supporting collagen and you just didn't know. So let's get into that. Before we do, let's talk about some myths, because I think this is also super important, and there's a lot of stuff out there on the market, especially with social media, and poorly advertised things that don't have any research. So the first one is eating collagenous foods and whole collagen is the best way to get more collagen. The answer there is false. It's not necessarily the best way. Collagen can actually be quite hard to break down for some people with digestive concerns. So it's, as you saw, quite a large molecule. So some people have an issue with digesting it. Unless collagen is hydrolyzed. So if you're getting it from food, it's not going to be hydrolyzed, but if it is, it's more absorbable. Also, collagen is not a complete protein. So if you're replacing, a protein powder, say you do smoothies every morning and you go and grab collagen protein just as a standalone, you're actually missing a couple key amino acids. So glutamine and tryptophan, which are not in collagen because it's not complete. You could actually create a bit of a deficiency if you start to replace your good protein or other proteins with a straight up collagen protein. It's an animal protein, so if you consume collagen, it's not great. Obviously, for vegans, are not going not going to opt for that, and some vegetarians won't as well. And then always be aware if you are doing collagen from an animal source, whether it's food-based or not, that animal products can accumulate things like heavy metals and GMOs and things like that. So you always want to make sure you're getting a product that is testing for that kind of thing. The next myth, I think most of you probably know this, it's been debunked for quite some time, but collagen creams or collagen hair products, they're not going to do the trick, right? They cannot boost collagen in your skin or your hair. Collagen is a large molecule, okay? So it cannot actually get through the cells between them or pass through the cells in your skin to get into the dermal layer where it would have to go to actually work. And same with, trying to get into your hair follicle. It's pretty much impossible. So the only time that might work is if you're, going to a medical practitioner for a physical treatment with like a laser device or some sort of medical device that can actually penetrate into the dermis and then basically insert that collagen. In those ways, perhaps, yes, it will support you. But of course, that can be quite expensive and doesn't support your own body's abilities. All right, and then the third myth that is all collagen supporting supplements are the same. So we kind of already talked about this, that collagen from as a collagen itself is always going to be animal based. So that's going to be different than some of the collagen generators, which we're going to touch on today. Again, what you want to educate yourself on is how are the things that you're taking, how are they absorbed? Are they absorbed well? Do they contain contaminants? Are they sustainably sourced? Are there clinical trials, right? Those are really important questions to always ask, your lovely product advisors at Nature's Fair if you're curious about supporting your collagen. All right, so let's get into some ways to support your collagen. So 3 main ways we'll touch on tonight. Getting an adequate antioxidant intake. I'm going to focus solely on vitamin C here. So for those of you who said that you may not have used a supplement to support your collagen, if you've taken vitamin C, then you are, which is great. The second thing is to make sure you're getting adequate protein, specifically certain amino acids, which support collagen production. And then finally, a very unique and innovative collagen generator that's been on the market for some time, but has probably the most research backing it than any other collagen product on the market currently. So vitamin C. Vitamin C, as you know, is a good antioxidant. The free radical damage that we are exposed to, whether it's, again, UV light, cigarette smoking, life stress, that really breaks down our collagen because it zaps our antioxidants, right? It actually causes that vitamin C level to go down because you're trying to use so much of it. It's again why smokers tend to have deeper set wrinkles, because the cigarette smoke depletes vitamin C, and vitamin C is critical for creating the links in collagen protein. We've seen that a higher vitamin C intake has been associated with a lower likelihood of a wrinkled appearance, less skin dryness, and brighter skin. It's a water-soluble vitamin, so even though you're getting it probably every day in your foods, whether naturally there or added, a lot of foods do fortify with vitamin C because of histories of scurvy way back. But because it's water-soluble, so regardless of how you're taking it, it gets peed out. So you can't actually store the vitamin C. So it is something you need to be taking or consuming on a daily basis. And humans, unlike most mammals, actually cannot make vitamin C. So it is absolutely essential to our living. It's very important in the maintenance of bones, cartilage, teeth, and gums, which again are all collagen. So how vitamin C works is it essentially is a cofactor that holds the cells together during the creation of collagen. And like I mentioned, is affected by aging, smoking, ultraviolet light, genetics, and your diet. Interesting studies have come out connecting, again, vitamin C with heart disease. We know that vitamin C is essential in the formation of collagen, and collagen, as we talked about, is important in the stability of our artery walls. A lack of vitamin C and lysine, which is an amino acid I'll get to in a moment, has resulted in poor collagen and weak arteries. And what has been noticed in studies is that cracks and lesions can develop. Cholesterol can then bind in there, lipoproteins and clotting factors can also go in because they're trying to repair it. But ultimately, what they create is plaque and can eventually create blood clots and heart events. Interesting study that was done, not very long ago in 2019, that said the dietary vitamin C deficiency is associated with health-related quality of life, and can also be associated with heart failure in adults. So again, really important little vitamin that we, I think, take for granted. And then finally, this was really interesting. In a unified theory of human cardiovascular disease, Linus Pauling announced that deposits of plaque seen in atherosclerosis were not the cause of heart disease, but were actually the result of our bodies trying to repair the damage caused by long-term vitamin C deficiency. Most of you may have heard of Linus Pauling and Dr. Sidney Bush, who was an optometrist. He kind of tested this theory out by looking at the arteries in retinal images. He was dosing some of his patients with, or serendipitously, I suppose, discovered that high dose vitamin C was reversing the tendency to arterial disease. So there's that before and after picture. It's maybe hard to tell, but the deep redness is that blood flow that prior to intervention with vitamin C was blockages occurring. So again, really, really important because of its role in collagen. All right, so the second thing that is important for collagen is protein intake. Collagen is a protein, as I mentioned, made up of amino acids. Generally, it's made up of 3 major amino acids, so glycine, lysine, and proline. Glycine we can make in our body, so that's great. You don't have to worry about that. And that's about 1/3 of the amino acids in the collagen molecule. But lysine and proline, a little bit trickier. So proline can be made from other amino acids, but lysine cannot. So lysine is an essential amino acid that we also have to consume daily to get our amounts that we need. Both the lysine and proline are converted into hydroxylysine and hydroxyproline. Then they're incorporated into the collagen strand, and they require vitamin C for this. And so when we see a deficiency in vitamin C and lysine specifically, we really have an interference with that collagen production. So you could take a protein powder. You could also take lysine as a supplement. 500 milligrams per day is ample for collagen support. Lysine is also important in preventing HSV-1 and HSV-2 infections. So herpes simplex is a virus similar to other viruses out there, require arginine for replication, and lysine actually counters that arginine, so the lysine will sort of stop that replication in its tracks so that an outbreak doesn't actually occur. But again, really supportive for your collagen. So making sure you're getting enough protein. For anyone that likes numbers, the general amount of protein that you want to look at consuming every day is about 1 gram of protein for every kilogram of your body weight. So might have to do a little bit of math there, but if you know your pounds, you can divide that by 2.2, and that's your kilos. And then that number is the number of grams of protein you'll want to be getting into your system every day. Divide it up, hopefully, not all at once. If you take all your protein at one time, it can actually be quite catabolic and break down protein. So dividing it up, breakfast, lunch, dinner is a simple way. So that's, most people are between 60 to 120 or more grams per day. If you're a meat eater, if you look at something like chicken breast, you're looking at about 20 to 30 grams of protein. So just very interesting, but something to keep in mind. If you are active, you'll want to increase the amount of protein you're consuming every day. And then there are some health conditions like kidney disease or liver disease where you'd actually want to limit that amount. So bear that in mind. You may want to chat with your healthcare provider if you're not quite sure how much protein to consume. All right, and so on to the last thing. The last way to help support collagen from a simple way would be with a generator. So Collagen Generator. And there really is only one right now on the market that's clinically proven. And luckily for everybody out there, it's not only, it's not from animals, and so it is vegan friendly if you choose to consume that way. So it's called BioSil. It's a fancy, well, it's the name for something called choline stabilized orthosilicic acid. Again, very fancy name. It's OSA for short. It's ultimately a very fancy type of silica or silicon that was discovered in Belgium quite a few years ago, several decades ago, in fact. It's stabilized with choline, which is an amino acid, to act similar to a B vitamin, and actually works to stimulate collagen production, but do a whole lot more. So from my standpoint as a naturopathic physician, I have a background in biochemistry, biology, and so I really appreciate when there is peer-reviewed research on products. I love all of my patients, and I know that there are lots of really interesting stories, and I listen to every single one because there are so many things that work for so many different people. But at the end of the day, when there is research that proves something to a quite significant degree, then I know it's going to probably help a lot more people in the population. So BioSil itself, again, like mentioned, has been around for quite some time, over 25 years of research, over $17 million of R&D is invested. Internationally renowned leading investigators around the world have used this in their trials with, originally in cells and animals, but of course in humans, which is what we really pay attention to. So how it works, let's just get down to that. Really, it's not a collagen product per se. It doesn't contain collagen, but what it does is it actually triggers the biological pathways that produce new collagen, but also new elastin and new keratin. So those are some other key proteins that are involved in our skin and joint and hair health. It also protects collagen in the body. So as we age, as I mentioned, at the age of 21, our collagen starts to break down. So if we can actually protect and prevent that from occurring, well, we're going to be wrinkle free for a long time, perhaps. But no, it's going to help support a lot more in your body. So how it does it is it activates fibroblasts, which are those cells that make your collagen. And it also supports the key enzymes required for the collagen and elastin production. It helps the body make glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, as well as hydroxylysine. So those are the ones that are required for the triple helix. It's also important in the structural properties of collagen, elastin, and something called GAGs, glycosaminoglycans. That's really the joint component. That's why that's so important. And then more recently, they've discovered that it helps neutralize anti-collagens. Anti-collagens are things that actually encourage degradation. So it neutralizes homocysteine because choline is involved in the cycle to reduce the homocysteine in your body. So also important for heart health, but also with cortisol. And as we know, we're all under stress. There's varying degrees, and cortisol, is in many people very, very high, and in probably equally amount of people is very, very low because of burnout. And so that cortisol that spikes for so many years is what is very, degrading to our collagen. There was someone that said, just look at the, well, I wouldn't say the prime ministers, but maybe the presidents of the United States before they go into office and afterwards, and you just sort of see that like hair changes and skin changes and wrinkles. That's much more accelerated in 4 years than you may expect in the average human. Stress. All right, so ultimately at the end of the day, what has been discovered? What are the numbers? How is it going to help you if you choose to take something like BioSil? Well, if you're doing it for wrinkles and fine lines, it can reduce those by 30%. So that's quite dramatic. Increase skin elasticity by 89%, increase hair strength by 13%, and increase hair thickness by almost the same amount. It fortifies nails significantly. And this one I think is the most important for me for ultimate health is it increases bone collagen production by 15% and increases bone mineral density at the hip by 2%. So if anyone out there has been osteoporotic or osteopenic, you've seen those numbers. A 2% difference is the difference between you being normal or healthy bones to having a low density bone. That's very, very important. Joint health, it's been shown to reduce pain and stiffness, improve physical function, and inhibit cartilage fragmentation. So BioSil is one ingredient, as I mentioned. It's just one thing: choline stabilized orthosilicic acid. It's it's originated in Belgium from sand, which is silica, with a choline attached to it. You can get it 3 different ways. You can get it in capsules and liquid, and then there's actually a new liquid capsule that's shown there. That's the one that I use. It's tiny, very easy if you don't like to swallow pills. And then easy to take. It's 1 a day if you want to support your bone health, or twice a day if you're looking for some more of that superficial skin, hair, and nail health, right? Some of the other things there. If you're doing the drops, you're taking 5 drops a day or 5 drops twice a day. Everyone always asks are there any, cautions or interactions? I'm on a medication or this or that. Well, it is well tolerated. No side effects have been reported. There's no clinically relevant interactions with medications or supplements. You can even take it when you're pregnant or breastfeeding, unless your healthcare provider suggests otherwise. And it's non-GMO, suitable for vegans and vegetarians, and free of allergens and contaminants. The other thing people want to know is, well, how soon would I expect to see results? So I did a little timeline because I thought this was kind of interesting. And within 30 minutes, you're wrinkle-free. No, just kidding. Within 30 minutes, it's in your blood and it's being absorbed. So it's easily absorbed. So that's another nice thing. You're not going to be excreting it out. You're not wasting the product. You don't have to have the perfect gastrointestinal system to actually get this into your body. Within a month is when people are seeing they have faster growing nails. In 2 months is when hair changes start to occur, so faster growing and more volume. 3 months, skin gets brighter and glowing. And in 3 to 4 months is when you start to see more of the systemic stuff. So the joint improvements, so the discomfort can go away. You may feel like there's more flexibility occurring, range of motion. Ultimately, your cartilage is being improved. Even further along, so 4 to 5 months is when this real significant improvement in the wrinkles and fine lines occur. 9 months is for the really great thick hair, I suppose. And then a whole year is when that bone density starts to show its face. So you'll see that improvement at the 1 year mark. They have seen that BioSil supports your immune system as well, because your mucous membranes and your skin is your first line of defense to keep things out and off of you. So immunity also naturally is improved by taking something like this. And then if you do have homocysteine issues, heart disease in the family, or if you suffer from stress, which is probably most of us, and have fluctuating cortisol levels, then you're also supporting that as well. So ultimately, everyone can take it. I know I can't see who's on the call. I can't see, if there's a certain percentage or demographic or age, but men and women, everyone really can benefit from it. Anyone looking for visible results by taking something naturally and internally. Postmenopausal women, I will say though, this is maybe a bit more important for you because the bone density is concerned, right? So there is a rapid loss of skin collagen, and if collagen is rapidly being lost at the level of the skin, then we know it's ultimately happening at the level of the bones as well. And then for anyone who really just wants to stimulate collagen rather than actually consuming it, so for anyone that doesn't consume animal products. All right, so I'm going to get to the summary. I went through that very quickly because Haley said I've got 30 minutes and I thought I might have a little bit longer. So I hope everyone hung on there and was able to really enjoy it. But at the end of the day, I've got, the 6 main tips that we talked about. So if you want to preserve your collagen, again, whether it's on the outside or on the inside. Sun protection is really important, or just being sun smart. So I'm not a huge fan of lathering a ton of potential chemical laden sunscreens, right? You go for a natural one, or be very mindful, use shade and don't spend endless hours in the sun. Balance your stress levels. That's a whole other topic. We can get into that another time. Take vitamin C, right? If you're not already, that's something that is going to benefit your collagen. If you're a smoker, then absolutely, that is something to really consider taking every day. Get enough protein. I mentioned, so if on average eat about a gram of protein for every kilogram of your body weight per day. So I could do the math for everyone. If you're about 150 pounds, that's like 75 kilos. So you want to consume 75 grams of protein every day, which would equate to about 25 grams per meal, for example. And some people will decide to, take a protein powder for that first 25 grams or so. Remember, you can do that as a collagen protein, but look for a hydrolyzed one. And just be mindful that not everyone can digest collagen as well as others, and that it is missing a couple amino acids that you want to be mindful of: glutamine and tryptophan. Avoid smoking for every reason out there, but also for your collagen. And then you can supplement with things like Collagen Generator, such as BioSil that we talked about today. Before I finish, I will quickly mention something called AISHARA, because I think this is also important for everyone to be mindful about. AISHARA is a way that it's a Canadian testing facility, actually, and now become considered the world's best in contamination testing. It's also testing for GMOs, and it's actually a not-for-profit lab in BC, just outside of Burnaby. And the AISHARA seal of approval, if you see that on a product, you know that all of the raw materials and all of the final product has been checked for everything. It tests for over 800 different things, including pesticide residues, solvents, heavy metals, glyphosate, antibiotics, GMOs, like you name it. So it's a really wonderful thing to see on your supplements, and hopefully, maybe foods down the line. You can just trust that when you see that, everything is going to be non-GMO, contaminant-free, adulterant-free. Even what you see on the label, will be inside, because it is testing for label claims. All right, so I'll say thank you again to everyone for attending. We're going to get into the Q&A. I'll leave this up for a bit. There's a few social tags there if you're curious about BioSil or me or whatever you like. It's all up there for you.
Super. Thank you, Dr. Jen. That's so great. So many good takeaways. I love that you spoke to the tolerant side of the interaction, because there were a lot of questions in the group about, I'm taking product X or product Y. I tend to get an upset stomach even from taking vitamin C. How would my body interact with BioSil? So you touched on that. Definitely always check with your doctor, but for the most part, it sounds like it's a very easily tolerated product.
Absolutely. I will say, if you do the liquid, it does have a smell. I think that's why the capsules and the liquid capsules came about, because choline is a very smelly molecule. So it what did somebody say? It smells like maybe like shoes that have been in the ocean for 10 years or something, like almost like a fishy, dirty shoe. So just be mindful that it's what it's supposed to smell like, and that is naturally what the choline is. That's what it is. So if you're not eager about that, then maybe look at the capsules.
Totally. Okay, that's great. Good to know. So there were a few questions around whether they've already been taking a collagen product or other supplements that are for someone, say, in their 60s or their 50s. Should they continue with their current collagen product and add BioSil into the regime, or would it be a matter of replacing the collagen product?
Yeah, I I get that question. I think that's a great question. I think you can absolutely add it. So, because the collagen, as long as, so I made a few comments about collagen, choose a hydrolyzed one. So your collagen should be hydrolyzed, meaning it's already broken down for you so that your body can actually absorb it, because it is quite difficult to do on your own. So if you're not getting a hydrolyzed one, then you may want to shelf the collagen and just go with the BioSil. But ultimately, the hydrolyzed collagen will provide some of the raw ingredients that you might need, that you might be missing from your diet, like those aminos I mentioned, like lysine. So you can absolutely add them together. If, financially you're not sure and you can't afford both, then I would just switch it out and try the BioSil for a few months and see how you like it, because it is as effective. You don't have to take them together, but there is thought that if you're missing some things out of your diet, then doing the both will ultimately be better.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice. In regards to the vitamin C activating the whole process, there were a few questions around the recommended daily dose for the average person around vitamin C.
Yeah, there's, the RDA is pretty low. So what you need to survive or prevent scurvy is pretty low. I think it's probably, 100 or 200 milligrams or something, but 500 milligrams is, an easy amount. 1,000 is also what most people aim for. I also sometimes tell my patients to go to bowel tolerance. If you're inclined to do this, which just requires you to, take 500 or 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C every hour or 90 minutes. And then once you get a loose bowel movement, that your tolerance has been reached, and then you would back down by 1 capsule. So some people find, I know for myself, which is really cool, when I'm sick, I can tolerate so much vitamin C. I can take probably 10,000 milligrams divided up, but on a healthy day, if I do 2,000, maybe 3, then it's too much, right? So you can test that out yourself if you're curious. It's only going to cause a little bit of an osmotic laxative sort of activation. It's temporary and not going to cause any issues long term at all.
Okay. That's good to know. And in the vitamin C world, there was a question about experiencing an upset stomach when taking that. Is that a common reaction to vitamin C, or would that be maybe a unique, talk to your medical practitioner about that?
Well, yeah, if the upset stomach means like a loose stool, like rushing to the bathroom, if that's what the person meant, then that is typical for if you're taking too much for what your body can absorb at one time. Mm-hmm. So that might be what's happening with that particular person. I think just backing down, that he or she may not actually need as much vitamin C. Yeah. Maybe they're getting more in their diet than they think.
Okay. Yeah. Back to BioSil, there were some great questions around, is it too late? I've missed the bandwagon. I haven't started. Is it ever too late to get going on helping your body kind of in this way?
No, it's never too late, because it's also going to protect your collagen from breaking down further. Mm-hmm. And it's going to help, even with the study on the joint hip bone density, right? That was done in older women. And so that, waiting until you're postmenopausal, if you're a female, then not a problem to wait. I wouldn't wait, but if you have by accident, then it's never too late.
Yeah, that's great. And for joints specifically, I know you went over some of the products and the recommended doses kind of for each. Is there one that you would recommend for joint health in particular, and kind of the starting dosage on that?
For other supplements for joints?
With the BioSil.
With BioSil. So you can take, additional products. Sorry, it's the question, what you can take with BioSil for joint health?
The question is, how much should I take for joint health?
Okay. All you need for joint health would be similar to the bone. So it would be 1 capsule per day or 5 drops a day. That's what the research shows. Really quite simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now the joke is made about fine lines, wrinkles, everything disappearing after 30 minutes. And that's not the case. But will it actually reverse down if you took it 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to a year? Is there studies showing any of the actual reversal of wrinkles, fine lines, things like that?
Not permanent. It's not, but it does take some time for those wrinkles to come back, and they would be potentially different. So the idea is you're repairing the collagen and allowing the elastin to come back in. But if you're aging, then your collagen is going to continue to be broken down. So it's like you're trying to keep up with that breakdown. So as soon as you stop keeping up with it, it will start again, and then those wrinkles will eventually form. Okay. Unfortunately, there's not a permanent solution.
Yeah. We're just all going to age gracefully. Yeah. Let's see here. I think that covers a lot of the questions. There's one, does it have any connection to helping grow cartilage?
Yes. So it is supportive of cartilage production in the fact that it's supporting the hyaline and the collagen in that hyaline cartilage. There's no specific study that I included in this one, so I don't know the numbers on there. The one that I included was that it improves the flexibility and the range of motion and the cartilage formation, but I don't have the number. We can definitely try to find that for that person if they're interested, though.
On the page that was talking about statistics, there was a question about, was that from a specific age group or age demographic to relate those stats to?
Likely, yes. I honestly don't know off the top of my head, and the fine print is small, I know, but I can also send a list of those reference materials or anything if there's any specific questions. Then
sure. Lisa, I've got your info here, and if you like that info, I will email it to you tomorrow. There's some conversation happening around enjoying your coffee in the morning. And if you add already like an MCT oil and a type 1 and a type 3 collagen, that sounds like it could be a beneficial regime to then adding BioSil into the mix with that. Is that something you hear of?
Totally. I tried it myself. I do that. I did the liquid. I did the mistake of the liquid. So again, you won't want to use the liquid in your coffee,
No,
if you enjoy the flavor. Yeah. But you could, take a capsule, or in some cases I'll just, add it to water and just down it and then take my first sip of my lovely coffee and it's all gone, and that's all I enjoy. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all the informative notes and comments and this great Q&A. Thank you to our participants for being so engaged, and there's still almost 140 of you here tonight, which is fantastic. So before we go, we do want to remind you that next week on April 21st and 22nd, all of the products in the BioSil line will be on sale in store at 25% off. We do have a handout that I will share here with everyone. It's a PDF that you can download with some more information about the product. Look at it, bring it into the store, talk to one of our team members about what it is that you're looking to get into your health routine, and they'll be able to give you the best recommendation. And then we also have an exciting electric city bike that they are drawing for. You'll be able to enter to win in store or online. And tonight here, we will share the link to the online registration form, and that draw will close the day the sale is over. So on April 22nd, and we'll be drawing one bike for a beautiful BioSil e-bike from one of our lucky stores. So we hope you really learned something tonight with the group. And if there's any more questions, you can always email us at events@nature's-fair, or connect with us on social, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. So I'm just going to share the link here now to the giveaway, and good luck on winning. Thanks so much again, Dr. Brix. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again soon, I hope.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Haley.
Bye-bye.
Good night.